and welcome back to Hoi 4, Equestria or Sirenalia, under Sonata Dusk. And you might notice, you probably didn't, that one thing is removed. Yeah, I just got rid of it. I found there's a command that allows you to get rid of things, and I just got rid of the mutinies. Because I did not feel like dealing with it. Now I still, because of the mutinies, these guys have a bad starting point. So I still might lose over here, but at the very least, I don't have to deal with constantly bad stuff. There we go. They are really trying here. Alright, still got that. That's fine. Yeah, honestly, you guys get to better positions around there, and I'm just gonna straight up have, like, most of them just be over here defending this for now. These guys can just run out of steam against me eventually. If I just let them run into me forever, they'll eventually run out of steam. You just gotta give it time. Music and the moon. Chiruptera as a state, as a culture. Everything about it revolved around one thing. Oh, no, I've read that one already. Yep, I read that one before the load in the last episode. So, yep, that is fine. Shadows and moonlight. The occupation of Chiruptera was intensifying. Progress was being made, but every insurgent they killed, the next two would fight twice as hard. Ponies would disappear overnight, having gone to take up arms against the garrisons, and they were disciplined. Many rather dying than even getting the chance to listen to a song. "I don't know, Area," Sonata said as they floated in the throne room of Mount Ares, having finished looking over reports from the mainland. "Doesn't that sound a bit extreme? I thought we were going to make things easier, not harder." "And their devotion is what's making this hard," the purple siren explained impatiently. "Without their faith, they'd fall apart. If we make an actual effort to get rid of it, everything will be easier for us." I mean, we're kind of doing that right now. It's just pretty difficult. "But we've already beaten them," Sonata countered. "They're close to giving up, I just know it. And Iago wouldn't be happy if she finds out how much time and effort you want me to spend on this idea." Arya gave an annoyed sigh and just gave what Sonata called that look. "Well, Adiago isn't here right now, is she? And besides, she'll be fine with it when she realizes they'll praise her instead of some regular pony by the time it's done. I guess it's still your choice, though," she finished, moving to leave. "Just don't make the wrong decision, for both of us. Let's not make things worse. This is unnecessary, or the religion must be destroyed for us to ever have peace." Sure. Let's root out lunarism. "The Chirupterans are having their faith in their goddess broken by force. Due to how fanatical and ingrained such beliefs are, the process is incredibly difficult and destabilizing. We'll deal with them, though." The twin cities of zebras. Zala walked the streets of Gazal, blending into the crowds of zebras that moved with him in the former capital of Orzina. When the Sirens first took over, he knew that it was going to be bad. After all, the stories were rampant of what happened inside their lands. The fights, the mindless obedience, the songs. He remembered being dragged out of the square, forced to listen to the music. He expected to be trapped in his own mind, or for his friends to turn on him one day. He expected rage, but he got none of those things. His friends still met with him as usual. He was still in full control of himself, and his mind was at ease. Everything had seemed good until the Zumidians had come in. They claimed that Warzina was now a rightful part of their kingdom, that their king Zamini was now the rightful sovereign of their city. It was outrageous, ludicrous even. Who were they to march in and just take a title like they owned the place? That was on Zala's mind almost all the time now, and he knew his friends felt the same way. Every week they would get back together and tell each other about how terrible the Zumidians were, how they were the worst thing to happen since the Storm King himself. They never made life easy. The hatreds were mutual as shown by their harsh nature, their wide reprisals and disgusting glances at passers-by. Zala could not remember any times in his life worse than this. There was something else nagging at the back of his head, but he paid no attention. It was just another thing on the long list of hatred that had become his life. Even friendships aren't always perfect. Yeah. Dunes of Zeratia. Considering the little population in Zeratia and the nature of the desert they live in, the full integration of the former nation could be described as little else but tedious. Fortunately, the same things that made it difficult also made it quick, and the matter of keeping the place under control should be wrapped up soon, just like all the rest of the creatures here. Good, good, good. They are losing a lot of troops just ramming into me repeatedly. There we go. That should be fine for now. There's a whole bunch of troops defending there. As they're bum-rushing troops into me. I mean, they're on service by requirement. They are on all adults served. Sure, they've got a lot of pony power in reserve, but, like, that's hurting them. The many issues of Carthage. Carthage is, to an unfortunate degree, a place of many problems and few obvious solutions. So little solutions, in fact, that for once I don't know where to even begin with it. I should talk with Aria or Adiago. Maybe they'll know how to help deal with the zebras. Maybe. Hopefully. I mean, especially if you're just going to be absolutely useless. Sorry. Kidding. Yeah, we're also going to need to spend time just repairing after we finish these. Nope. See, they have so much attrition going on, which is the best thing right now. Like, I'm not taking any attrition, and they're just sitting there in attritionville. Approaches. So I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. Neither Adiago or Aria look surprised at this statement. Well, at least you could finally admit it, the Purple Siren responded, smirking. Carthage is a bit too complicated for someone like you, after all. Yeah, Sonata said, folding her hooves in an irritated manner. Just go ahead and tell me the plan so I can do whatever, Area. Carthage was a heavy factionalized place, but the two groups we care about are the scientists and the landowners. Both of them are smart enough to be willing to work with us and have their uses. Focus on them and make sure that we control everything in Carthage through them. Order should be above everything else. Sonata nodded at the long and complicated explanation like she understood every word of it, while Diago just made a faint noise of disappointment. We aren't here to bring order. We're here to cause chaos and anger. We shouldn't limit ourselves to just these few groups of zebras and rules. If working with the landowners helps us, then we should do that. And if working with the warlords and letting things burn helps us more, Diago ignored the seething glance from Area, then we shouldn't leave that option out either. More options does seem like a good idea, unless you make the wrong one, Area finished for Sonata, which you'd obviously do if you listened to Diago, said Siren. Siren growled at her partner, who looked smugly back at her. With both of them fighting as usual, it was up to Sonata to choose whose word she would follow. We will intentionally play the faction cultures against each other for our own benefit. We will break the power of cultures and secure the country by any means necessary. Diago's right. Let's do that. The issue of land. Land was, and still is, an ever-present question in Carthage, one that has divided landowner and peasant for years now, particularly in the region of Kolva. There are no issues of rebellion from the peasant masses anymore, of course, but the fact remains we still need to take a side in the debate who should control and own the land on our behalf. Well, over here, it seems like the communists are in love with me, thinking I'm for some reason, like, helping them in some way when I'm really just screwing over their old masters, but I guess that helps them as well, but that's not really my goal. I mean, I'm just kind of chilling here. At some point, it might be time just to give, like, to just put everyone in this group and just, have one group here. Land and zebras. Land was a very controversial topic in Carthage, particularly in the years before a conquest. The Zarkas, a very important family that ruled for decades, promoted giving land in massive sections to landowners who forced peasants to work them to grow cash crops for Carthage. The building resentment caused from this eventually boiled over into Kolva, where a rebellion led by Zamazar Zeratid began fighting for land reform in favor of the peasants that worked it. We do not care about the irrelevant things, such as ethics or what is right and wrong. All we care about is what causes people to fight, and here land is a good topic at causing that. There are two options available to us. The old status quo, that being the landowners, would bring us the help of the elite, which could become useful if used properly. Not only that, but such an arrangement would surely cause strife among the peasants. However, the peasants owning the land themselves would also eventually cause them to turn on each other, and make the landowners involved in the conflict personally as well. The land redistribution would not be out of benevolence, but for manipulation. Which option should we choose? A toast to our friends, the landowners, or the peasants should know how to handle their own land? Yes. A meeting in the countryside. I never wanted to start a revolution against Carthage. I just wanted a justice and fairness for my fellow country zebras. It was only when I was left with no other choice that I was forced to fight. Zeratid explained as Sonata carefully grabbed another taco, barely listening. The meeting was technically supposed to be about land reform, but the Siren had forgotten about that instantly, upon being offered some new interesting food that was supposedly a local thing. She, however, considered it a blessing from whatever entities created her. There was no words to describe it. Perhaps she'd need to devote an entire day just to the food. Taco Tuesday had a nice ring to it. Ha. What are you doing, Zesh? A voice called out from the stairs jokingly. It was Zeratid, still trying to be self-righteous even now. Zeratid sighed, sounding almost genuinely annoyed. You're drunk, Zari. Go to bed. Look at you, always being so perfect, she continued, bitterly waving a bottle around with a hoof. It's always about you, all the time, isn't it? You might be able to do more if you didn't always get yourself into trouble. As the argument heated up, Sonata slowly grabbed one last taco before quietly making her way out of the far but away from the dispute. Even she knew better than to stay around for family matters. Besides, she got what was important anyways, the glorious taco. Wait, wasn't there something else too? Woo! We got tacos, which I guess is the most important thing now. I don't know. Tacos, woo! There are two tangible movements of nationalism simultaneously in Carthage, one of pan-Zonicanism and one of regionalism. Each has its own use, whether it be for keeping the Carthaginians together or driving them apart. We can't support both of them at once, obviously. So the choice lies not in whether we care about Zonica, but how divided we want them to be. Makes sense. Makes sense. We'll have to figure that out. Just keep holding them off. They're not even like, they're just struggling holding that line. They're slowly losing troops. The rest of my army just sits there. And like, that's it. This is the front line. This is it. Like, nothing else is really going on in this world right now. Not for me, at least. I mean, I'm just chilling. County of Griffwald's managed to be kind of neutral still. Aquilia's one up here completely. But I don't really care about them. I'm just gonna ignore them and hope that they just ignore me. Of Hindi. Yeah, I don't really care what you're doing. Yeah, go ahead and fight their alliance. I don't really care. The death of Zonica. There are two ways to look at Carthage from an outside view. The sum of its part, a complete state of Zonica, bearing Zemidia or its individual regions, each connected by common ties. The idea of nationality in each region has changed over time, with some calling themselves Carthaginians, and others calling themselves Coltfins or Coltdarians first. With the influence we exert over the minds of the zebras, it would be relatively easy to sway them towards one way of thinking or the other, and that's exactly what we are going to do. From one viewpoint, uniting the zebras under one banner seems like the simpler option. Everything can be ruled from one place, and the local landowners would be grateful to us for keeping land together. However, that requires making peace between zebras, which temporarily would be a dent in our magic. The other more radical option would be to split the zebras, encouraging the nationalism in regions and splitting them up. Getting to fight each other has its obvious benefits, and would become a breeding ground for warlordism and future chaos, a situation that, if encouraged, could lead to some potential benefits. A unified region will make everything easier, or have them fight each other. It means they can't fight us. Carthaginian. Sure. Why not? Let's do that. It turns out that none of us three want to actually move to Carthage and make sure everything works there. Go figure. However, the hole in authority that we left by taking over still has to be filled by someone, even as they are still subject to us. The question in this case is, who will that be? Who will that be? I wonder. Maybe we'll send a cat. No. That would be stupid. I don't know. Or a kitten, maybe. Oh. Okay. How can I ever push? That's the question I'm currently in. Just this front. Like, yeah, I'm holding fine over here. And they can't do anything up here. We're just kind of stalled. But I'm not pushing at all. So how do I push a line? That is the question. Oh, like that. Huh. Oh, never mind. There we go. I was like, wait, what? Okay. Actually, I think, yeah, okay. Huh. Guys, I figured it out. I figured out how to push. I would like to push there and then like, get a good surround, but nah, it doesn't look like that's gonna be the case. But hey, I took a province. Woo! The Carthaginian leadership. None of us have any intent to stay in Carthage any longer than necessary. Much like the other regions we control, we need a group who can at least claim to run things for us. This isn't as simple as just finding the nearest zebra and telling him to do things, though. After all, not everyone here is someone we can trust, and preferably some level of competence is required. Those who with experience in both giving and making orders, useful subordinates are the goal. We can't have some uppity mortal thinking themselves as anywhere close to equal to us. Fortunately, even with those criteria, there are still many to choose from. There's always the group that area wants. The scientists and landowners. The first being a group of intellectuals who promise to reform Carthage into a productive part of our country, and the second being simple zebras who would remain loyal, unambitious, and keep stability when we need it. A more radical option, the outlier, would be just to refuse to have anyone to take charge. With no leader, warlords and bandits would inevitably rise as well, which at first glance would seem like a negative. More chaos does mean eventually gaining more magic, though, if we ride such sentiments later. So we're not doing landowners. I'm thinking I'm gonna give some influence to scientists. Why not? A mistake ratified. After a long period of reforms, tedious decisions... Whoop. Actually, let's see if I can do some pushing over here. And generally unfun activities, the state of Sirenalia is, for better or for worse, an integral part of our holdings. The populace now serving us, they can finally find a use serving new masters, not some old, young and insane moon immortals. Oh, hey. Alright, throw you guys down in East Aries. Alright, you guys get back over there. Yeah, I can't push that. I think I might just, can't do that either. Well, that's great. There we go. That's fine. Nope. Alright. Expand the systems. We have more land and enthralled creatures now, but just because they once fought us doesn't mean they should be treated differently from the hippogriffs and zebras of before. The systems we have created must be focused on expanded to everyone, so that they can also benefit from our decisions. So this will upgrade music patronage and extensive medical service. Alright, sounds good. Nope. I'd really love to be able to push, but I can't. At all. Oh well. On the issue of collaboration, no region would be complete or secure at this point without our constant getting his claws dug somewhere in it. We can't just let him choose whoever he wants in Carthage, though. This will require a bit more finesse, and he will work with who we tell him to work with, no matter his opinion on it. But I think for now, we're going to go ahead and end this episode. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button. And as always, peace.